Life can be unpredictable, right? We often find ourselves caught off guard by the twists and turns it throws our way. Just when we think we have everything figured out, something unexpected happens and we are left scrambling to make sense of it all. It's like being on a calm sea, enjoying the gentle waves and the beautiful coral sky, only to suddenly find ourselves in the midst of a storm. One minute, everything's smooth sailing, the sun is shining, the water is calm, and you feel at peace. You think to yourself, this is it, I've finally found my rhythm. But life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. The next, you're caught in a storm you never saw coming. The waves are crashing, the wind is howling, and you can barely see what's ahead. It's disorienting and terrifying. You wonder how you got here and if you'll ever find your way back to calmer waters. That's how I felt when my world turned upside down. It was as if everything I knew and relied on was suddenly taken away from me. I felt lost, confused, and overwhelmed. The sense of security I once had was replaced by a deep sense of uncertainty. It started subtly, like dark clouds gathering on the horizon. At first, I didn't pay much attention to it. I thought it was just a passing phase, something that would blow over in time. But as the days went by, the clouds grew darker and more ominous. I dismissed them at first, thinking they'd pass, but they didn't. Instead, they loomed larger and more threatening with each passing day. I tried to ignore them, hoping that if I pretended they weren't there, they would eventually go away. But deep down, I knew that something was brewing. They grew larger, darker, and more menacing. The once beautiful coral sky was now filled with foreboding clouds that seemed to stretch endlessly. It was clear that a storm was coming, and there was no way to avoid it. I remember feeling a knot of anxiety growing in my stomach. It was a constant, nagging feeling that something was about to go terribly wrong. I couldn't shake it off no matter how hard I tried. It was as if my body was trying to warn me of the impending danger. It was a feeling I couldn't shake off, a premonition that something was about to change. And I was right. The storm hit with full force and my life was turned upside down. Everything I had taken for granted was suddenly in question. I had to find a way to navigate through the chaos and uncertainty. Life, as I knew it, was about to be tested in ways I could never have imagined. But in the midst of the storm, I found a strength I didn't know I had. I learned to adapt, to find new ways of coping, and to keep moving forward even when the path ahead was unclear. The storm may have been fierce, but it also taught me valuable lessons about resilience, courage, and the power of hope. The news hit me like a ton of bricks. It was as if the world had suddenly shifted on its axis, leaving me disoriented and struggling to find my footing. I had always thought of myself as resilient, someone who could handle whatever life threw my way. But this was different. It was unexpected, overwhelming, and utterly devastating. The weight of the news settled on my shoulders, a burden I wasn't sure I could carry. I felt a deep sense of dread, a gnawing fear that I couldn't shake. My mind raced with 1,000 thoughts, each one more troubling than the last. What would this mean for my future? How would I cope? The questions were endless and the answers seemed elusive. Suddenly, the ground beneath me shifted, and I was left grappling for something, anything to hold on to. It felt like the very foundation of my life was crumbling, and I was powerless to stop it. I reached out, desperate for stability, but everything seemed to slip through my fingers. The world around me was changing, and I was struggling to keep up. The weight of the situation, the enormity of what lay ahead pressed down on me. It was a suffocating feeling, as if I was being crushed under the pressure. Every breath felt labored, every step a monumental effort. I couldn't see a way out, couldn't envision a future where this burden didn't dominate my every waking moment. Doubt crept in, whispering insidious little doubts in my ear. It told me I wasn't strong enough, that I would never be able to overcome this. The voice was relentless, chipping away at my confidence, eroding my sense of self. It was a constant companion, always there to remind me of my perceived inadequacies. "You're not strong enough for this," it hissed. "You're going to crumble under the pressure." And for a while, I believed it. I let those doubts take root, let them grow until they overshadowed everything else. I saw myself as weak, incapable, destined to fail. The days blurred together, each one a struggle to get through. I felt like I was drowning, unable to catch my breath, unable to find a way to the surface. The weight of the world was on my shoulders, and I didn't know how much longer I could bear it, and for a while I believed it. I felt lost and alone, adrift in a sea of uncertainty and fear. Every day was a battle, every moment a test of my endurance. I questioned everything, doubted myself at every turn. It was a dark time, a period of my life where hope seemed like a distant memory. I felt lost and alone, adrift in a sea of uncertainty and fear. But even in the darkest moments, there was a flicker of something else, a small, stubborn spark of resilience that refused to be extinguished. It whispered to me, reminding me of my strength, urging me to keep going. And slowly, ever so slowly, I began to listen. Just when the darkness felt all-consuming, when it seemed like there was no way out, a tiny glimmer of light appeared. It was faint at first, almost imperceptible, but it was there, a beacon of hope in the overwhelming gloom. This light wasn't just a physical presence, it was a symbol of something much deeper. It represented the possibility of change, the potential for things to get better, even when everything seemed bleak. It came in the form of a friend, someone who cared enough to reach out, to be there in the moments when I felt most alone. This friend was a lifeline, a connection to the world outside my own mind. She offered a shoulder to cry on, a safe space where I could let my guard down and be vulnerable. In her presence, I didn't have to pretend to be strong. I could just be myself with all my flaws and fears. She was a listening ear that didn't judge, someone who truly heard me and understood my pain. Her empathy was a balm to my wounded soul, a reminder that I wasn't alone in my struggles. She reminded me of who I was, of the strength I possessed but had somehow forgotten. In her eyes, I saw a reflection of my own potential, a glimpse of the person I could be if I just believed in myself. Her words were like a lifeline, pulling me back from the depths of despair. She spoke with a quiet conviction that cut through the noise of my doubts and fears, giving me the courage to keep going. Her belief in me, even when I doubted myself, was a turning point. It was a reminder that I was not defined by my struggles, that I had the power to overcome them and emerge stronger on the other side. "You're stronger than you think," she said, her voice filled with quiet conviction. "You've got this." Those words echoed in my mind, a mantra that I clung to in my darkest moments. Her unwavering support and belief in me were the catalyst for my transformation. With her by my side, I began to see the light at the end of the tunnel, to believe that I could find my way out of the darkness and into the light. Her words sparked something within me, a flicker of defiance against the darkness that threatened to engulf me. I realized that I had a choice. I could surrender to my fear and let it consume me, or I could choose to fight. I chose to fight. It wasn't easy. Every step forward felt like an uphill battle against the current, but with each step, I felt a surge of strength, a growing sense of determination that I would not be broken. I started small, focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. I drew on every ounce of courage I had, reminding myself that even baby steps were still steps in the right direction. I started taking care of myself, both physically and emotionally. I ate healthy, exercised regularly, and allowed myself time to grieve and heal. I reached out to my support system, leaning on my loved ones for strength and encouragement. As I slowly but surely climbed out of the darkness, I realized something profound. I was not the same person I was before the storm. I had been broken, yes, but I had also been reforged. The experience had tested me, pushed me to my limits, but it had also revealed a wellspring of strength I never knew I possessed. I discovered a resilience within myself, a capacity to endure and overcome challenges that I never thought possible. Looking back, I am grateful for the experience, as difficult as it was. It taught me the true meaning of strength, not the absence of fear or pain, but the courage to face it head-on. It taught me the importance of self-care, of nurturing my mind, body, and spirit. And most importantly, it taught me the power of human connection, the unwavering support of loved ones who helped me find my way back to the light. Now, When I encounter others facing their own storms, I share my story. I tell them about my journey, about the darkness I faced, and the strength I found within. I want them to know they are not alone, that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. I want them to know that they too possess an inner strength, a reservoir of resilience they can tap into when they need it most. Life will always have its challenges, its ups and downs. But knowing that I have the strength to face whatever comes my way is an incredibly empowering feeling. So I urge you to embrace your own journey, to face your fears with courage and compassion. Discover the strength that lies within you. You might be surprised by what you find.